Yesterday, Attorney General Luther Strange joined us to talk about some issues, including the general election in November. This morning, we are joined by the man who he is running against, Democratic candidate for State Attorney General Joe Hubbard. Counselor, good to have you with us this morning.
Good to be with you, Mike.
All right, first of all, this is, as you know, a predominantly red state,
Sure.
and it's mostly a GOP-controlled government right now. You're going against an incumbent. Talk about the challenges that ahead of you. This is an uphill battle.
Well, listen, Mike, I don't pretend that this is an easy task, but the reality is we're not called to easy tasks. And the people of Alabama expect their Attorney General not to be partisan, right? The crooks don't ask you whether you're a Republican or Democrat before they mug you. The crooked politicians don't ask you what your party affiliation is before they line their pockets with your tax dollars. And so at the end of the day, we're simply offering a clear alternative to an Attorney General who only shows up every 4 years when there's an election.
Let's talk about those specifics about the alternative. What can you do that the Attorney General you feel is not doing right now?
Well, sure. Look, first and foremost, the two biggest corruption investigations in the state's recent history have happened under his watch. And he's recused himself from those investigations. You know, under a recused Attorney General, Mike, corruption is flourishing in Alabama. Under an absent Attorney General, crime and drugs are flourishing in Alabama. And press releases and press conferences don't do anything to address those issues. We need an Attorney General who's going to stand up for victims and their families when violent criminals try and cut their sentences short. Luther Strange hadn't been there. He hadn't been there for the consumers. We just need an Attorney General who's going to put the people's issues first. Well,
again, some strong allegations. You guys have gone back and forth on that, obviously. Yesterday, I had a chance to ask Luther Strange if his campaign broke the law in taking $50,000 in donations that was transferred from a PAC that was funded through a 527. That money was returned, but listen to his response, then I'll give you a chance to rebut. Did your campaign, though, break the law?
Right, absolutely not. And that's the great thing about the way we've set things up is we have a team of lawyers and accountants who review every contribution we get. So if it's even a questionable issue, we return the money. We've only done that one time that I know of in this case, and it was of course from the Republican AGs Association, which is a very strong conservative group that I'm proud to be a member of. Of course, Governor Bentley returned about the same amount of contributions he received at different times, so it's not unusual to happen. The concern I have in my campaign is my opponent, very liberal Democrat. All of his contributions have come from one source, $1 million from a gambling interest. And that is a very serious issue. It's never happened in Alabama politics, and I think it's really a question of whether or not someone can actually try and buy the office of Attorney General. So we'll see how that plays out, but it'll be an interesting campaign year.
Your response?
Well, look, the reality is Luther Strange is bought and paid for. We just don't know by whom. He broke the law to conceal the identity of his donors and their out-of-state gambling interest. And I know he broke the law because in 2010, when I was a brand new legislator, Mike, I crafted the very language that prohibited these PAC to 527 transfers. Luther Strange sits on the board of directors for this Washington, D.C. based shadow group that transferred the gambling money through the PAC into his campaign account.
But you don't deny that his accusation, though, that most of, not all of your funding has come from the Porch Creek Indians?
Well, Mike, the reality is the people of Alabama know where my support comes from because I've been transparent about it. The people don't know where Luther's comes from because he's hiding it, and he's breaking the law, and he's been caught red-handed hiding it. He can't hide behind a team of accountants and lawyers or blame Governor Bentley for doing the same thing. He needs to stand up and be held to account for his violation of the law.
He says all those accusations are false, but just last question real quickly. You are in your early 30s. Do you think the lack of experience, do you think people will try to hang that on you, fair or unfair?
I have tried more cases in my short career than Luther Strange has even thought about trying. And the reality is the people of Alabama, Mike, expect their Attorney General to prosecute crooked politicians, not to be one.
All right, Joe Hubbard, it's going to be an interesting battle, no D. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you.
All right, Michelle Obama, she's going to